Oftentimes on this channel, I know I talk about a lot, and I mean mostly it has been a lot of the Marvel superhero varieties. But in fact, I really do love the DC superheroes as well. It's just kind of sad that mostly Marvel is basically dominating the market of DC as of lately. But I have reviewed, and I'm still going to review DC related properties. In case you don't know, I've reviewed the Flash show, and I've done top 10s on both the top 10 Batman the Animated Series episode, the top 10 Batman the Brave and the Bold episodes, and in this certain case, Superman. For those of you unaware, Superman is, yes, one of my all time favorite superheroes, and it kind of makes me worry sometimes in a way that he's going to be handled on screen as well as in the comics, and I do still respect the Superman that you can still look up to and realize that he is a hero. There are some Superman incarnations who haven't done that as of lately. But I still feel that Henry Cavill's appearance in Justice League was the appearance that I wanted, which made me happy with the movie. But there is one Superman sub project that not too many people talk about, unfortunately. Well, they do, but every so often. So I'm here to talk to you guys about what you probably don't care about. The top 10, my top 10 favorite Superman the Animated Series episodes. And oh boy, is Superman one of my favorite superheroes of all times. And this, I was just on a Superman watching craze and decided, you know what? Superman deserves some love. So, here's this Superman time. Greetings, geeks and nerds, I'm Wade the Universe, and I'm White and Nerdy, and welcome to a top 10. My top 10 favorite Superman the Animated Series episodes. You know, I would have changed the outfits, but phone booths don't exist anymore. So, yeah. So this is just my top 10, and let me just make this clear before I begin. These are just my picks. These are just my favorite episodes, in my opinion. My opinion doesn't need to reflect your guys' opinion, which means, if there's a certain episode that I like that you guys don't like, that's fine. You're all entitled to like and dislike what we all please to. Just like whenever I make a top 10, I'm willing to accept in the comments of somebody going, but I don't like that episode. It's completely fine by me, and you're willing to tell me if you don't like a certain episode or not. Those are just my pick, number one. Number two, I'm just doing this to have fun. I am a Superman fan. I'm just willing to have fun and roll with the punches, and all that. But fair warning, if you guys get too out of hand in the comment section, I will disable the comments for this video if it gets too out of hand, just let you know. So no picking on one or the other just because they say, I like this episode better than this episode. You're entitled to your opinion. And also number three, let's just have fun with it. And also, if you see a top one of your favorite episodes on the list, let me know. And if not, tell me what your favorites are in the comments down below. I have some pretty good picks for this episode in all sincerity. And also be sure to check out your local shops for Superman the Animated Series Complete Disc 2 or as well. The only thing that sucks with this is that in the Volume 3, Disc 1 and Disc 2, there are no English captions or subtitles. Oops. But anyways, this is my top 10 favorite Superman the Animated Series episode. So let's get started and let's begin the countdown. This is the Wade Universe top 10 favorite Batman the Animated Series. Superman the Animated Series episode. People are going to pick on me so much about that. Let's begin the countdown. Number 10. Action figures. I'm going to start this list off strong with an episode that was my very first introduction into Superman the Animated Series, and as a total, and one that still sits a favorite in my heart. On a small island, we meet two kids, Bobby and Sophia, who basically aren't seeing eye to eye by living next to a live volcano. But things don't get better when this longtime Superman nemesis, Metallo, reappears in front of the kids as he has no memory of who he was or where he came from.
Are you alright? I think so.
After Metallo saves the kids deem Metallo worthy of being a superhero. Unfortunately for Metallo, he sees it fine at first until he gets flashbacks of what he used to be. At first, things go great for the Metal Metallo, as he ends up actually saving a guy, also becoming a hero in this regard, especially for small children, but it doesn't last long. Word gets across to Clark Kent, who is not very happy with the choice and decision of this matter, so instead Lois Lane is going, while Clark is just kinda confused. It's not made better when Metallo gets his memory back though, when everything starts to go right to hell, including the magical voice of Malcolm McDowell as Metallo.
She was asking questions about you.
You didn't tell her anything.
No, of course not. You're hurting me.
You did.
Action Figures is a greatly written episode and also greatly voice acted by both Tim Daly and Malcolm McDowell alike. If you have the time, I recommend picking up this action figure. Number 9. Target. This episode had to do with Lois Lane accepting an award for being a best writer, but unfortunately for Lois, things do not go quite as planned. Upon the night of the award ceremony, Lois is happy that she might win, although unfortunately she gets a death threat telling her she accepts the award and she will die. But whoever's making the death threats is making them very good, as Lois' life is put into peril and she has to find out who is behind the mystery because who wants her dead. Lois, with the help of Clark and also Superman, ends up finding out that the one that sabotaged her vehicle is in fact a technology expert, so she gotta go to somebody who's smart with tech. The story is not too interesting in my opinion, but what makes it worth it is the voice acting, specifically from Dana Delaney as Lois Lane herself, who really makes this episode shine in my opinion.
A long line of killing machines. It's not as much fun when you're on the receiving end.
I heard about the regrettable incident at the Excalibur Awards.
Yes.
It was even ballsy in the episode where Lois blamed Lex Luthor for it, and Lex is like, bitch, I don't even know what the hell happened. I've been here shooting at my dolls and in my office. And this is a side of Lois Lane that we never got to see before in the animated series. A petrified Lois Lane who get fears of what's gonna happen, including almost her death upon her. This is some heart-wrenching stuff, but especially it works for the impact that it's supposed to make upon the series. Target is such a great Lois Lane episode, and since I always liked Lois Lane, I do love this episode. And I mean, come on, this episode also has Lois Lane in lingerie. What more could a growing boy ask for or need in their life? All joking aside, really do check out the episode Target. It's a greatly written episode, and Dana Delaney brings her A game to the table, and I can't help but smile every time I see this episode. Number 8. At number 8 is The Late Mr. Kent. This one was written by the great Dan Berkowitz, and I gotta say, this is quite an episode, opening up to the death of Clark Kent. The great Tim Daly monologued the entire story over what happened on Clark Kent's final days and how in the world did Clark Kent end up becoming dead, as he explains his own story. Clark is seeing an inmate for an interview, an inmate who happened to kill somebody, but he says he's innocent. Clark believes him after listening to his heartbeat and noticing that he was telling the truth the entire time. I love this episode because throughout the whole entire episode, we don't focus on Superman, not once. This is an entire Clark Kent episode, and I love it for that. However, when Clark gets too much into the investigation and almost proves the man is not guilty but innocent, his car explodes and it sends him off to his death. Because he's Superman, Clark happens to survive, but stops flying out of the water because to avoid people seeing him, and he doesn't want to take on a new identity. Also, this had one of my favorite lines that Superman ever said that had me thinking, should Superman really just be Superman all the time? The answer is no.
Clark anymore. But I am Clark. I need to be Clark. I'd go crazy if I had to be Superman all the time.
There must be some way to bring back our boy.
Also, the way that Tim Daly handled that line, pure genius. But it's still a great episode for Superman and Clark Kent trying to figure out, how in the world did I die? It's another great episode full of twists and turns that maybe you could see coming, but I digress because The Late Mr. Kent is such a late great episode made for everyone. Number 7. Pixel Pixelated. Believe me, my friends, no one on this earth probably misses Gilbert Gottfried more than myself. He was the man that got me into comedy, same as Robin Williams. And when Robin Williams committed suicide, I was devastated. And when Gilbert Gottfried com- died himself over his health issues, I too was devastated again. But Gilbert had left a legacy that nobody else can accomplish. And besides, who doesn't love the little squinty-eyed weasel? He was hysterical. So that's why Mick Fixated happens to be number 7 on the list. I promise I won't do this entire voice through number 7. Written by the great Paul Dini, Mr. Metropolis seems to be walking through Metropolis, making trouble and making havoc looking for a man by the name McGurk, but seemingly he can't find him. This leaves Clark into wondering what the hell is going on with his life, but then he realizes he is actually in a comic strip, written by Jerry and Schuster. Cute little touch there I like. This is when Clark soon realizes he's gonna have to deal with Mr. Metropolis, the man, the myth, the legend voiced by the incredible Gilbert Gottfried of the Fifth Dimension.
And this time you're not gonna cheat me out of my fun.
Oh, it's you again, Mr. Kiltipsism.
Not kill Tipsyism. Mix Pitley.
But poor Mr. Metropolis doesn't make it easy on Clark. He keeps reappearing, and reappearing, to the point where Clark, and Superman, mind you, gets sick and tired of him. If that's not enough, Mr. Metropolis also has Clark going up against his own parents to dispatch them. Pretty horrifying scene, truthfully. Mr. Metropolis tells Superman that he deems him the only man that is worthy of conquering his powers, and if he does so, he'll leave him alone forever. If not, he'll be back to bug him every 3 months. He deals with Mr. Metropolis, but honestly he gets pissed off to the point with Superman where he deems him his incredible foe, which of course for his main woman Gertie to become upset alongside with him. Also, Gertie is voiced by Sandra Bernhard. And if I'm not crazy, isn't that the woman that voices Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, Mixie. I don't like the way you're obsessing over the Superman person. Using our powers to torment humans is so...
It's even funnier in the episode where Gertie is wearing the slutty little uniform trying to get Mr. McFidget's attention, but he just ignores every attempt that she makes. Funny stuff. Later on in the episode, because Clark Kent has had so much, he decided, the hell with it, I'm just gonna have McFidget show up, and I'm just gonna tell him I want to play his game no more. Mr. Persuaded is a funny episode just for Gilbert Gottfried alone, and also the great writing by Paul Dini. Check this one out if you have the chance. Number 6. The Hand of Fate. On an attempt break and on an attempt to get what he needs, a robber ends up summoning a demon, and what's worse, he ends up transformed into that demon to raise hell upon the world. Superman tries to stop the magical menace, but to no avail, because Superman is not as strong as magic as we all know. The beast takes the Daily Planet hostage and ends up making everybody transformed into his own demonic slaves. This leaves Superman powerless to the magic of the demon. Superman is told by the Goth Girl, voiced by Cree Summers, no joke, that in order to defeat the demon, he will need the help of magic and the aid of a magical person, and Superman knows the one. He goes to the Tower of Fate to meet the Doctor himself, Dr. Fate. Yes, Dr. Fate is in this episode, and that is just damn awesome. The Hand of Fate just isn't on the list because Dr. Fate is teaming up with Superman. It's not on the list because of a great written story, and also it's Superman versus H.P. Lovecraft. There's more. Dr. Fate tells Superman he's quitting the superhero business. He wants no more to do with it. He wants a peaceful life for him and his wife. But unfortunately, Superman will have none of it. Despite the impossible odds and the menace before him, Superman still goes head-to-head with the H.P. Lovecraftian creature, not knowing his own fate or what will happen to his friends and family. On the verge of death, Superman is almost perished until he is saved by the one and only Dr. Fate, who makes his grand epic appearance and is there because of Superman. This is still a creepy, greatly voice acted and also greatly written episode, but it's on the list because it showed what Superman means to so many people, and that's just fucking awesome. Number 5. Feeding Time. Superman's local friend, the Starlight Professor, made him a suit so that he can feel the effect of kryptonite. While that's all happening, a robbery is in place from one Rudy Jones. Rudy's helping an old friend of his steal some radioactive material from Starlab, but unfortunately it's not long before Rudy and his friend are stopped by the police and almost taken in custody. However, a shootout is endued and the two friends are on the way, with Rudy on the back of the truck, unfortunately, surrounded by radioactive material. Rudy is then bathed in said materials, becoming the supervillain of Superman known only as the Parasite, having Rudy become this new villain. Feeding Time is such a great origin for an underrated Superman villain, and truthfully, one of my favorite Superman villains that's really undermined and never used as much. However, when Parasite finds out that he can absorb superpowers, he absorbs Superman, and as you'd expect, he becomes drunk on power. Not just any power, Soup's power. This is a great episode that kind of symbolizes what would happen if we were drunk on power. What would the effect be? How would we feel afterwards? It's a great written stuff. Also, Brian James as Parasite really did do a good job and had a standout voice all on his own for the character.
Good evening, dinner. Enjoy your night out? You better believe it. My whole life, everybody's been stepping on me. Now I'm the one with all the power.
Not a whole lot else can be said, but go and check out this local Parasite. You will not be disappointed to have him in your household, so just beware if he steals your life energy, okay? Number 4. Fun and Games. While after a heist, a gang is on a breakaway for making lots and lots of money. That is until they're met by a little man known only as the Toy Man. Toy Man is not somebody to be messed with, as he leaves a bouncing ball that ends up becoming totally lethal and almost kills all of the goons. No joke. Things become even more ridiculous when at an affair, Superman notices, oh shit, there's some toy airplanes coming in to frickin' kill people. What the hell is going on here? But it turns out a good friend, old Bruno Mannheim, knows who exactly this is, and he wants the Toy Man caught, dead, and or alive. Also, have you ever seen an episode where Superman fights a giant mechanical rubber ducky? Superman fights a giant mechanical rubber ducky in this episode. This episode's just fucking awesome. Rubber dub, get your fucking ass in the tub, now! This had Bruno Mannheim coming face to face with the man that he deems is the one that's causing him all his business. But, strangely enough, it's not the Toy Man that Bruno Mannheim remembers. Through a flashback, we realize that this Toy Man is in fact the son of the original, and he wants payback on Bruno Mannheim for what he had done to his father so many years ago. Fun and Games is a dark, demented, twisted episode, but I love it for that reason. It feels like one of Doug Walker's dark tunes, but it's made for darker people. Also, although he's underappreciated, I always had a thing in a heart for Toy Man for the Superman as a villain. It just sucks that he's not used very much often. Also, his very creepy appearance is helped through the voice actor Bud Cort, who really gives him a creepy kind of vibe that works for this simplistic of a character who's a child stuck in a man's body.
Your life, you miserable little freak. I mean it, Sean. I got friends. They'll find you.
If you're looking for a great time, I recommend checking out the episode Fun and Games. Just, if you're gonna have some fun and games, make sure that nobody gets hurt, okay? Please, for me. Number 3. The Main Man two-parter. While in space being a giant dumbass, because he is, Lobo just so happens to stumble across his next plaything and his next means of easy money. However, trouble ensues for the poor Lobo as he is met by his Fiend's brother, Bounty's brother, we'll just call it Bounty's brother, good enough, who wants Lobo dead for trying to take his brother in for a bounty even though that's technically the main man's big job. But of course, it's Lobo being Lobo, so he doesn't get away so easily. The main man is picked up soon by an alien known only as a collector, who gives Lobo a job to go after the one that they call Superman. The main man at first declines the job, saying, I want no part of it, and Superman can just live to be Superman, until the collector speaks Lobo's language, then he goes. Superman soon shows up as Lobo starts wreaking havoc in Metropolis, which causes Lobo to wonder where the hell is Superman until he finally does show up after he sets up a bomb. I also love the fight between Lobo and Superman. It really shows off such a power scale in between the two of them, and also Superman just showing Lobo how much the people mean to him. Pretty cool. Collector eventually gets what he wants when he finds out that Superman had been indeed kidnapped by the main man, known only as Lobo, only for the Collector to collect them both. Paul Dini was writing a really great two-parter when he wrote this, and I love Paul Dini's writing in of itself, and also the Collector is a very interesting villain all on his own. And the main man wouldn't be the main man behind the voice behind the legend, and you guess who voices this amazing character? Raymond's brother himself, Brad Garrett.
Back to me. Where's that wrinkled little creep that locked me in here? When I get my hands on him,
Also, I'd just like to point out, Paul Dini invented these. Don't know what they are, don't care, they don't have normal mouths and that scares me. Main Man is just a great episode with a goofy concept with a great execution, especially for having Superman team up with one of his greatest all-time enemies. I love it. Speed Demons. Superman showed up for a charity auction race that will be going to the children's hospital. But not just him, the Scarlet Feaster, or fastest man alive, also showed up alongside Soup. But because this is the Wally West Flash, Wally decides to get up in Superman's grill and call Superman out, claiming that Superman is not as fast as the Flash as a race ensues. The race goes well, almost too well in fact, until Flash villain the Weather Wizard ends up showing up to ruin the entire day by going after his main villain. It's free for Superman and the Flash to go off a trail and off of the race that they're supposed to have in order to save people because that's just the type of superheroes that they are. Just like with the main man, Speed Demons is an awesome team-up, especially to have the Flash and Superman team up together, which is such a great concept and such a horrific episode. This time around, Flash is not voiced by the amazing Michael Rosenbaum, but instead Charlie Slater, who in my opinion is not as good as Michael Rosenbaum.
But how? I just vibrated my body till I melted through.
If you're looking for a great episode with a great time, and also if you want to see Superman team up with somebody kinda straight out of his alley right before Justice League, I highly recommend checking out Speed Demons. New kids in town. In the year 2979, local Superman villain Brainiac ends up interfering with some police business, and he steals some valuable pieces of technology. He also takes one of the new gods' boom tube, and he ends up using it to transport himself into Smallville in the past to try to take care of Superman in the future. One of my favorite underrated superhero teams is called the Legion of Superheroes into Smallville to try to save the day and recruit Superman before it is way too late. Which we do in fact see a young Clark Kent voiced by the amazing, the incredible, the remarkable, the all-time famous Jason Morrison. And that is not a joke.
Sorry, Lana, I got sidetracked.
What's this strange power you have?
And also, way before he was created, we get to see Clark Kent basically in a Superboy costume way before Connor was invented. Kind of a nice touch if you ask me. It's not long before the Boy of Steel is attacked by Brainiac and leading to the Legion of Superheroes to save the day for Superman before Superman is turned toast and never a legionary. Maybe it's because I love weird and abnormal things or because I'm into weird and abnormal superhero teams. I don't care. New Kid on the Block was always my favorite episode and was the very episode that got me interested in the Legion of Superheroes. Which also had a very underrated TV series that should come back at some point. I just love the Legion of Superheroes, and I love this episode. And there you have it, my friends. Those are my top 10 favorite Superman the Animated Series episodes. I don't even think I showed the number one. I think I just went into number one. I'm sorry. Time consuming and whatnot. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And also, be sure to stay subscribed for another top 10. If you have an idea, let me know in the comments down below. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Wade the Universe. I've been Wade Nerdy. Keep geeking on, and I'll see you next time.